we're going to look at special education and crime rates. And this is going to be a brief overview of how special education delivery may affect crime rates. There's a number of other things we'll look at too. The cessation of leaded gas use, the 1994 crime bill, and 1973's Roe v. Wade also possibly had an effect on the big crime rate drop that we saw between 1991 and 1994. Our objectives for this micro-learning opportunity are as follows. We're going to understand the history of crime rates in the U.S. between 1960 and 2010. We're going to identify 4 key events that happened alongside a massive decrease in crime rates nationally between 1990 and 1994. And then we're going to identify a correlation between cuts in special education delivery and crime rates that happened in Chicago between 2015 and 2017. So our first event that I want everyone to notice is the 1973 phase out of leaded gasoline. This is when we started phasing out leaded gasoline. And for the most part, within about 5 years, a huge percentage of our lead gasoline was phased out. So 1973 was Roe v. Wade. And this is a time when abortion became legal nationwide. In the book Freakonomics, they say that this event is the big reason for the crime decrease. In 1975, the Education for All Handicapped Children Act was passed, and this made special education national law. So this said that every child deserved an education, regardless of how their behavior was, regardless of how low their skills might be. 1980 to about 1992, the crack epidemic happened. And the one type of crime that really rose during the crack epidemic was aggravated assault. The 1994 crime bill put 100,000 additional police officers on the streets and mandated stricter sentencing at state and local levels. Many law enforcement proponents will say this is the reason for the big crime rate decline that we saw in the early 90s. As you can see, though, the crime rate had already been declining by the time this legislation was turned into law. By 1996, leaded gas had been fully phased out. And 1997 and 2004 saw the passage of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Acts, which further increased the amount of services that people with disabilities receive. By 2010, crime was at a historically low rate. Chicago makes a great case study in what might happen when far fewer educational services are delivered. And what happened is 2013 to 2015, they started putting more special ed students into charter schools. Charter schools have fewer rules, they answer to the state less. A lot of different things make them less accountable. Now, 2015 to 2017, they did this big push that they called an equity push. And it was a secret overhaul which changed the way the meetings worked. And they really missed a lot of kids. They missed bringing a lot of kids into special education. In total, around 10,000 kids who needed extra help in school through special education were missed. And those 10,000 kids did not get the help that they were required to get by law. And in 2018, the state of Illinois took over the CPS Special Education Department. But what we see is in 2016, we see this huge rise in murders that happened middle of 2016, so during the summer. The summer of 2016 was awful compared to a lot of the previous years. Now, this correlates with that big cut in special education services that CPS had.